This might be a bold statement, but I don't think there's a city more perfect in Europe for a weekend break than the relaxing and historical city of Amsterdam. From the sprawling museums to the cosy wine bars and bustling laneways lined with independent stores, come rain or shine, Amsterdam knows how to tug on your heartstrings. But it is pretty easy to get caught up in the busyness of the main attractions, so in this vlog I want to show you how my husband Ryan and I recently spent a long weekend in this beautiful city with minimal crowds. By the way, if you are new to my channel, my name is Jess and I'm a New Zealander living in London, sharing vlogs and travel guides about my weekend trips around Europe, but most importantly, everywhere I visit and eat in between. Right now, on with the vlog. Welcome to Amsterdam, everybody. We arrived at about lunchtime yesterday on the Eurostar from London, and as always, it is just such a delight to catch the Eurostar. It always ruins me for airport travel because it's just so easy to jump on the train. It takes you right to the centre of the city. They do all passport control back in London, so you basically arrive in the centre of Amsterdam, get off the train and start your trip, which is pretty wonderful. We headed straight to our hotel to check in because we had a pretty packed afternoon. I had already booked us, yes, you'll guess it, a food tour at this point. I sound like a broken record, but it really is just like my favourite way to start any type of trip. This food tour was based around the Jordaan neighbourhood, which is like quite a sort of quiet residential area of the city. Really beautiful, lots of small little laneways and housing and gardens and canals, all those beautiful Amsterdam things that you imagine. And the food. Where do I even start? We started with one of my favourite dishes on earth really, which is apple pie, and I think this is like in Hall of Fame for apple pie for me. The pastry was just perfect, and also in the pie it's all these like thinly layered apples and it's not too sweet. So honestly, if you have a chance, either do this food tour or go and get an apple pie in Amsterdam. It really is exceptional, and we tried all sorts of other things like fresh fish and cheese and all sorts of delicious bits. And even after, we did manage to have some space to go for a wine, so we popped into like a little wine bar that we saw while we were walking around. Lovely little spot, really relaxing. You can kind of just see it's where people go after work in that area, so everyone was popping in and meeting their friends. Just a really, really good vibe to start the trip. And then we wandered through the neighbourhood, just watching the sunset over the canals. Probably couldn't have asked for a better first afternoon in the city, really. I've got a lot of fun things planned for this trip, especially later on, but today I think we're just going to continue on with the theme of having like a relaxing long weekend in Amsterdam, and there is only one way to start that, and that is with brunch. I always enjoy finding places that do brunch a little bit differently, and this spot in Amsterdam West was exactly that. They had all of the essentials right, like coffee, but the dishes really played around with flavour and texture. Everything just felt really fresh and considered, and I loved this rhubarb pancake. If you love a lazy little potter around charming canal streets, vintage boutiques and independent stores, the 9th Street should definitely make it to the top of your itinerary. You could easily spend a whole day and possibly paycheck here, peeking through the windows of the art galleries and rummaging through the thoughtfully curated stores. We wanted to spend some more time exploring Jordaan, so we made a pit stop at the traditional brown cafe with the apple pie for round 2 of my newly favourite dessert, and then we wandered through the quiet residential streets. Amsterdam is one of those cities like London that can very quickly and easily feel crowded and overwhelming, so I always love taking an afternoon to explore the areas away from the monuments and museums, because this really is the atmosphere of Amsterdam that I love. Day 3 here in Amsterdam. It is a Saturday, and I know that now because I posted a happy Sunday post on my Instagram this morning, and everyone messaged me and told me, Jess, it's Saturday, but you'll have to forgive me, we are here during Easter weekend, and I think during big holidays, like, I can never tell the day of the week. I don't know about you, but I definitely can't. We have woken up to a very sort of grey, rainy day here in Amsterdam, and we are actually switching hotels, so I thought I would quickly tell you a little bit about the area we are staying in before we switch. This is the RAI area, and it's not your typical sort of pretty Amsterdam canal area. It's actually near a conference centre, But the great thing about this area is that it's only 10 minutes from the central station by metro, so incredibly easy to get to, even easier than if you were staying on some of the hotels sort of west or east in the centre of the city. And the good thing here is that the hotels are really good value for money, really well priced. I can highly recommend the one we're staying in, or just any other hotel in the area. You will notice that compared to other hotels right in the centre of Amsterdam, it is really good value for money. But for now, we are packing up our stuff, going to check out of the hotel, and then after we've dropped our things off, we are going to go and do a little bit of a day trip outside of the city to an area called Haarlem. So let's go and do that. Haarlem is only about 20 minutes from Amsterdam Central by train, and you will see why soon, but I think this would make such a good option for an affordable base to explore Amsterdam from. The first time I ever visited Amsterdam when I was 21 and travelling solo, I also came to Haarlem, and it was also pouring down with rain then, so I don't know what that says about my luck. But it is the perfect excuse to cozy up in a bakery, and I just loved how bustling this one was. They even promised famous cinnamon buns, and I can confirm they tasted as good as they looked. On a Saturday, they also have the farmers markets in the central square where you can browse pastries, breads and local cheeses, but of course we had to take the chance to pick up our first stroopwafel. This is a thin wafer-like waffle cookie with a gooey sticky syrup slathered between the layers, and they can run you up to over €10 at the popular stores in Amsterdam with all of those toppings and extras, but at market a classic fresh one is €2.50, and it was simply perfect. Now before you ask, Jess, did you spend the whole day wandering through the rain? No, we did not, which brings me to our sponsor of this video, Get Your Guide. I have been using Get Your Guide for years, and they really are my favourite place to discover and book unforgettable travel experiences. They offer more than 110,000 things to do in 150 countries, from your favourite attractions to more local experiences. And on this rainy day in Haarlem, I simply opened up the app, saw what was available in the area, read the reviews from other travellers, and booked a windmill tour for an hour later. No paper tickets, no hassle, just all very easy. I also booked a lot of our foodie activities for this trip in the app, so I will link everything we did in the description, so make sure to check out Get Your Guide when you're planning your next holiday. Right now, on with the windmill tour. This is the Adrian windmill located in the city centre on the bank of the river. Although I have to say I was pretty happy not to be arriving by boat this day. We bundled up inside and learned about its history as a flour mill, through to it actually burning down in the 1930s, to it being rebuilt as a museum mill in the 2000s. We got to climb up through the different floors, see the inner workings, and even meet the man who looks after the maintenance and repairs. A very wholesome afternoon, made all the more better by our next stop, an old church, but not just any old church, one that is now home to a local brewery. This place was so busy and high energy, you could just tell that everybody was out having the best time on a Saturday. Ryan ordered up a brew and I got myself a local gin and tonic, and of course we couldn't pass up a plate of cheese, pickles and mustard, probably the best bar snack in my opinion. And as we finished up, the rain stopped and a glimmer of sun came out, making these little laneways all the more charming to wander through. There is something really restorative about an early Sunday morning in a new city. Most people are, rightfully so, sleeping in or taking it slow at home, and there's just a quietness to the streets that were so busy a mere few hours before. I knew I wanted to do a boat tour on this trip, but I really wanted to try and find something unique. This tour takes place on a 1920s government boat, now captained by Dave, who grew up in the area. And as we sailed through the canals, he shared stories of Amsterdam's history and what life was like growing up here. The tour starts and ends in Jordaan and the 9 streets, so we wandered over to a bakery that I had been eyeing up for breakfast. Cafe Wolf has a small but top-notch menu, and I ordered these incredibly fluffy eggs with chili, and I have zero regrets. What a gorgeous little morning in the city. We have just popped back to freshen up because 6 a.m. starts are really not my friend on holiday, but the weather is supposed to turn a little bit rubbish this afternoon, so we are going to do some indoor activities. We are heading to the Rijksmuseum, which is kind of known for all of its Dutch history and art, and then we hope we're going to find somewhere delicious for dinner. I have a place on my list, but I haven't made a reservation, so let's cross fingers that we can get a seat. The Rijksmuseum is located in Museum Square, and while it's not exactly a quiet place, there is just so much to see here. My highlight has to go to the breathtaking library though. This is the largest and oldest historical library in the Netherlands, and you will find it tucked away in the corner of the museum.
Oh, I can sing, I can dance, I can learn to slow moves. I would do anything you ask me.
From here we made our way back to Amsterdam West for yet again drinks and dinner. This is a great area to stay if you are a foodie because most of the cafes, bakeries and restaurants that I saved on my Google Maps were around here. After a wine, we got in a queue for dinner for one of the best pizza spots in Europe. I am definitely not a queue person, but this was seamless and spoiler alert, it was well worth it. Phenomenal pizza selection, and controversially, I love an anchovy and olive pizza. Let me know in the comments if you are also a fan. I find that they are quite tough to get right, but these guys absolutely nailed it. And please, of course, we have to have a moment of silence for this tiramisu. It was just stunning.
Oh, I can sing, I can dance, I can learn to slow moves.
It's our last morning in Amsterdam and we have got something very exciting on the agenda that I have been looking forward to the whole time. It is a Dutch pancake making class. I am forever scrolling to kind of see what's new or what's exciting that I can add to our itinerary, and when I saw making Dutch pancakes in a canal house with a local, I was like, yes, I definitely want to spend my last day in Amsterdam doing that. And honestly, it's just probably a skill I would like to have in my cooking skill set. So let's go and make delicious pancakes and eat them, of course. Okay, if you book one thing on your trip to Amsterdam, it has to be this. I'm limited on footage because I was honestly just having the best time chatting with our host Fusina. She is an absolute foodie at heart. We sat down at her kitchen table and she poured us a coffee, popped out some delicious homemade sweets before we got to work. We made both apple and then bacon pancakes, so a sweet and savoury option, and yes, I even managed to flip them without it falling on the floor, so that was a pretty proud moment. And that brings my Amsterdam vlog to a close. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful if you are planning a trip to Amsterdam. And if you want more inspiration for sort of Europe, city places to visit, I have got a whole playlist here. Vienna, Prague, Copenhagen, Berlin. They are all in there, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!